This is going to be an interesting shoot because I'm going to be taking you guys on a shoot. This is going to be fun. I've never done this on this channel before, but I think you guys could learn something from this. And obviously, it's great documentation for me because I could potentially learn something if I mess up. Because this one is my first ever surprise engagement. I've done, I think, maybe 14 or 15 weddings now, but in terms of surprise engagements, none. So the way we're getting away with this is that I'm testing microphones, and that's pretty much what he's told her. So it's a bit of a family shoot. They've got a little daughter, and essentially I'm going to mic them up, and you may be able to see the microphones. I'm not sure because it's about the microphones and them having family time. So hopefully she doesn't know about this. It's going to be fun. But my tool of choice, the FX6 and the 50mm f1.2. But I'll go through obviously the reasons why I've chosen this whole setup. And but yeah, it's probably been an hour and a half to get down the Gold Coast, so we need to get down there. We may be about 20 to 30 minutes early, which is perfectly fine. Want to get there early, better to be early than late, especially on this massive occasion for someone. So yeah, come with me, let's go have some fun. Let's get it. So when you actually do these kind of family shoots, it's very important to try and get real natural looking shots. So try and get them to interact with each other. And one thing to do as well is to get them to just do some walking shots. So you can actually get them walking together as a family, happy, fun sort of environment, really good vibes. Giving them something to do makes things look way more natural than just say, hey, stand in front of the camera and, you know, have fun. So giving them actual actions is really important to try and get those natural looking shots.
Can we try a few walking ones, like say from going over there all the way back up this way? That's all right.
So this is where you've got to find the right position and the right angle that looks the best in your eye. So generally a little bit of foreground elements will help. So there's a lot of grass here that I'll utilize as foreground elements. And what you can do is you can stay static and just track them walking. You can also focus on the foreground element and then stay completely static and watch them walk sort of through the frame. So there's a few different styles you can actually choose here. And another style that's really nice is that you can actually just track backwards while focusing on them or focusing on the little girl, and these really help sort of give fun, warm family moment vibes. So the way I personally shoot these kind of shots is I frame in 50 frames per second, and then I'll just frame up my shot for about 2 to 3 seconds. That's all I need. Then I'll move to a different sort of framing, use that for about 2 to 3 seconds. Then I'll, same again, move to a different sort of framing, use 2 to 3 seconds. So essentially you're going to be able to get more. And if you have it in 100 frames per second, essentially 1 second of filming is 4 seconds of B-roll. So it's very quick, very easy, and I do recommend try and reframe every time because you're gonna get more variety of shots, and there are certain shots where some will look better than others. Now, when it comes to lighting these kind of situations, if it's run and gun, you don't have control over light, but you need to have the right angles and position them in the best spot possible. Now, because this is a surprise engagement, it's very difficult, but you are the boss and you need to direct them in the best lighting scenario. So in my opinion, majority of the shots I prefer to have either side lit or backlit. As long as the sun is in the background and they face each other, then if you do over the shoulder shots, they're pretty much side lit and they will look nice because having them side lit at least creates depth in the face because you don't want to be front lit as much. There is a time and place for front lit, or you don't want them to be silhouetted unless that's the desired look that you're going for. But side lit kind of works, side lit or backlit kind of works the best. So trying to shoot on the dark side, that is one of the key aspects of this, is shoot on the dark side. It always looks the best, well generally looks the best depending on what feel you go for. So at this point, you can actually see me taking off my Action 4, and when I did this, Amber actually said that this is the part where she's actually going to ask him to do his engagement, and so this is where we start to prepare and try and find the right angle. Now the most important part is trying to direct them and get them to stand in the correct spot so it at least looks nice. So get them to face together and have the sun behind them so at least they are side lit, and depending on where you shoot, they'll either be backlit or side lit, but they'll actually have some shape to the face because that's how the shadows will actually fall and it will look quite nice. So this is the part where I bring it back to 25 frames per second and just check out the audio. So I am adjusting the audio gain dials just to make sure that I'm not clipping at all. And obviously because Amber is talking to them, so they are talking at a normal voice. So hopefully my audio should be fine for a starting point, and then I monitor it throughout the whole speech. But making sure that I do have headphones in the whole time.
And because you two, obviously, you mean the world to me. Babe, share each day with me. Each night, each morning. And this is the greatest wish I have. And I just want to ask you, will you marry me?
Yes.
Well, I guess you put this thing on. It fits, yes. I love you.
Love you.
Now, ideally, if I knew she wasn't going to talk pretty much through the whole thing, I wouldn't have mic'd her up because miking positions wasn't fabulous for her. You would have to mic this and attach it underneath her clothing, and you can see the microphone, so it's not ideal. But if I did have to run it again, I would still mic him up because I hit it quite well underneath his collar. But with hers, unfortunately, you can see the microphone. Now, this is a massive question I got asked on my Instagram. Why did you choose the FX6 over the red Komodo X? Well, there's a few different reasons why. One of the reasons is I don't actually have any audio attachments for the Komodo X, so that already is a massive thing because audio is extremely important. So that's why I had a shotgun microphone on top and also a lav mic as well, because this has 3 different inputs. It's got your 2 XLRs and then the multi-interface hot shoe as well. Now, another reason with that audio happens to be the audio inputs. I'm very, very used to using the audio inputs on the FX6 and going into the settings and adjusting it that way. It's very easy for me. Plus, I have the ability to adjust the audio on the side of the FX6 to, my liking and, just dialing it in. Now, the second reason is autofocus. Obviously, I don't have any RF autofocus lenses, so autofocus is non-existent with the Komodo X for my use case. Like, I've got a lot of manual lenses, but I just can't trust manual focus when it comes to such a very run and gun difficult situation. So that's why I have to rely on the autofocus of the FX6. Now, the third reason is actually the variable ND filter. Now, the FX6 has electronic variable ND filters, and it's extremely amazing because you can really dial in the correct exposure. Now, there's nothing wrong with me putting a variable ND on the front of the Komodo X. That's perfectly fine, and it can almost do the exact same thing, but the ability to adjust it on this, it's just so much easier. Now, the last reason why I chose the FX6 is that boot up time. And I like to turn my FX6 off just to conserve battery, even though it shouldn't really be an issue. It's only about an hour and a half shoot max, and I've got a 135 watt hour battery, so this could last 5 to 6 hours straight easy. So it shouldn't really be an issue, but turning it off and turning it back on is extremely quick. And then with the Komodo X, it does take quite a while. And if I do turn that off, I have to turn it back on. And if he's literally on his knee, I would be stressing when it comes to trying to get that shot. So I would be forced to leave the Komodo X on, and I've only got the 99 watt hour batteries on the KX, and they don't last very long. They could last up to maybe an hour and a half of just straight using, which cuts it really fine, and I don't want to have to change battery halfway through. So The battery power, it's my issue, but that's the main reason why I chose that as well. Now, some people may think, well, why didn't you just use a smaller camera with a gimbal? Because you probably want steady shots. And sure, some people prefer steady shots. That's absolutely fine. I've got no IBIS in this, and the lens doesn't have any OSS, so there's no stability in this at all. But I try and weight this as much as possible to make it heavier, to remove the micro jitters, and I'm perfectly happy with that. If there is nice natural motion, I'm perfectly fine with. It doesn't have to be 110% perfectly steady all the time. But if that's what the vibe you're going for, then obviously a gimbal would have done perfectly fine. But that means I would have to use a different camera to have, you know, different attachment points. It just comes down to the tools that you have and what is the best tool for the job, and I guess what vibe you're going for at the end of the day. So anyway, my friends, I hope you enjoyed that video, and if it was useful, please give it a thumbs up. That would be amazing. I want to do more of these videos, taking you guys on the shoots with me, and hopefully you can gain some, I guess, knowledge in what I do on set, and obviously I can see what I did wrong or what I could do better as well. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. All right, let's get it.